Hey, what is up guys, and welcome back once again to another Minecraft tutorial. Today we're going to be building a Gothic style manor house. So to begin with, what I'm going to do right now is show you how big it's going to be. And on this right, where you see this little circle thing right here, that is just going to be sort of an estimate on where the tower is going to be placed. But we'll save that for probably the next part. And I believe this is at least going to be 2 parts. And then, of course, the third one for the interior. So to start this thing off, we're going to start on the far left. And by the way, the door for this thing is going to be right over here in this section. But we'll start here for the beginning. So each time I place 1 block, you're going to place a pillar of 4 tall. So for this one, we'll place that there, then skip 3, place this here, and then skip 1 more gap of 3, place that block there. And then moving backwards, we're going to skip a gap of 1, then we'll move to the right, skipping a gap of 3, then we'll move forward, skip that gap of 1, and then right 3. And then this section over to the right side here is going to be divided by 2 gaps of 3, so we'll place 1 in the middle. Excuse me, not 2 gaps of 3, but it's going to have 2 gaps of 2 on either side of that middle block right there. And then moving on to the back side, this back side over here is going to be sectioned off by these 2 gaps of 3, and then we'll move back here, and this place is just going to be a square, and this is going to be 3 gaps of 3. And then moving over to the right, we'll have 1 more gap of 3 like that, and then this is going to be the exact same over as that side, so we're going to have the block in the middle sort of separating off these 2 gaps of 2. And when done with that, you should end up with something like this. And then the next step in the building process is really quite simple. All you need to do is add a crossbeam like this in between all of the pillars. And then once you're done with all those, you can start the next step by adding another pillar of 4 outside of all the other ones that we placed in the very beginning. So it ends up with something like that. After finishing that, we're going to move on to the next step, which is placing a block on top of each one of the pillars we placed in the beginning of the video. So it'll just be something like that. And then from those blocks, you're going to come out 2 like this, and then on the corners you're going to do multiple of them like that. And then say for this one right here where it's sort of on an inside corner, you're just going to leave that one open for now. And then to sort of further detail these pillars, what we're going to do is grab our spruce wood stairs, and beneath this little sticky addy bit, you're going to skip 1 and then place the stair, and then in between that gap, that's where you're going to stick in your fence just like this. Now for the final step before moving on to our walls, it's really quite simple. All we have to do is add a crossbeam on the second set of sticky addy bits that we made. So when you place these in, make sure not to do it right above the previous one like that, but instead go 1 block out so it kind of creates an overhang like that. Now the only tricky part that you guys might have a hard time dealing with is most likely the corners. So for these corners that look like this, what you're going to do is grab the same material as your wall. In this case, that's going to be bricks. So what we're going to do is place a half slab right on that corner block. Then above that, we're going to place a spruce wood block like this, facing straight up. And then from there, you can just go over 2 like that, and it should connect nicely. And then that being the case, you can go ahead and delete this one right here, along with any other ones you might have on the corner, such as these right there. And I think that should be all, unless you did end up placing one right there. If that's so, then just go ahead and delete it. Now moving on to our next step, what we're going to do is grab our bricks and just fill in all of these gaps in the walls completely. No need to place in any windows or doors just yet. We're going to save that for the next step. And like I said, now that we're done with all the walls, we can start filling in some windows. So what I used to do is actually fill them in from the inside, but I learned that that's not really the best way to do it, just because, say this wall looks good for a window from the inside, but if you carve it out, it's really not too functional, especially since it can't really look out at anything, and we do have this blocking it. So what I like to do is actually fill most of my windows in from the outside, just so we can actually see what they're going to be able to look out, and if they even have room to sort of fit in there. So our first one we're going to place on this left side right here, and then we're going to skip that one and then move on to this, which sort of overlooks the best part, which is just the cemetery down here. And then once again we run into sort of a wall that's blocked by most of this stuff, so we're going to leave that one open. And then back here, as I mentioned earlier, we are going to have a tower right here, so we can go ahead and leave that blank for now. But on this back wall, we should have room for one right there. And then I think on the inside right here, that's probably going to be better left out, just because it really doesn't look at anything besides the mountain, and it is kind of a tight space. And then we could probably put one right here. It might look nice, especially if you don't have a mountain behind it. That one will be pretty good looking. And then I think on this wall, we should have room for 2. So just since this is a 5 block wide wall, just place them right on either side of the pillar like this, and then that should be good. So if you want to detail your walls just a little bit more, we can do one trick. So I'm going to save this wall for last, and we're going to start with the 3 gap wide ones. So it's going to be a bit of a Hobbit style effect. So we're going to grab our spruce wood stairs, place one of these in each of the corners on the bottom, and then as we move up, we'll do 2 like this, so skipping 1. And then on top of these, just to mix it up a bit, we're going to go 2 stairs facing in like this, and then 1 stair on the top. You can either do it facing this way or facing that way. So say if you have a doorway, you might want to make it look a bit different than the rest of the walls. So if you have a doorway, maybe do it that way, but if it's just a wall, you could probably get away with just doing it like that. And now for this 5 wide gap wall, we're just going to make it a little different, so we're going to spread it out just a bit. So we'll place a stair at each one of the bottom corners, and then we'll skip a gap of 1 going up like this. Then we'll do an upside down stair above each one of those like so. And then above these, we're going to place 2 upright stairs facing inwards like this. And then next to those, just go ahead and do 1 upside down stair right there. And then one thing that you guys may have missed, or I may not have told you, is for the corner, just go ahead and do something like that. And then I'm not sure if I mentioned either that even if you don't have a window, I'd probably still recommend doing these stairs. It really just makes the build look a lot less plain and gives it a whole bunch more detail. So you may be wondering where the hell the door is going to be, and I'm thinking we could probably place it right here. So to make this thing, you're going to grab yourself whatever material you like out of sort of the stone variants. So for this one, I think I'm going to use cobblestone for the main portion of the steps, and then for sort of an outline, I'll probably use these stone bricks. So for this, we're going to have to delete those 3 blocks right there, and then we'll start our stairs here and just kind of work our way down until we hit ground level. And then, as you can tell, this really looks kind of plain and ugly. So on the outside, as I mentioned, we're going to need an outlining material just to give it a bit more detail. So we'll place those in like that, and then try to get our upside down stairs underneath those if we can. There we go. And then for this little outline that I'm talking about, you're going to grab, for this one, as I said, I'm going to use these stone brick stairs, and what I'm going to do is place one of them like this as we go down, and then we can further detail this in a little bit. So we'll also go ahead and delete these if we can. So go ahead and delete those 3, and then from here, what I like to do is something pretty simple. I just do this as I go down to give it sort of a broken up effect, but it still looks quite cool. And then you can also do the same thing over on this side, which would help in making it look a lot more detailed. So I'd probably recommend doing that. But there we go. Doesn't look too bad, and it also leaves you room if you want to maybe place a little cellar down here. In fact, I think that's what I'm going to do. So if we grab ourselves some of this spruce wood, we can place 2 of these like that. And then in the middle, we can go ahead and dig that block out, and then we'll grab some redstone stuff, so the trapdoor, and we'll place 1 of these on each of those, and we can just dig that down later. I'll probably show you how to make that in the interior show around. So there we go. And then of course you may want to squeeze some sort of block in here so it doesn't look too open. So if we want to, we'll just maybe do, if we can get one to fit, place one right there, and that should do it. And now for the second floor, before we can start on the walls, what we need to do is delete all of these spruce wood logs facing straight up. Every single one except the blocks on the corners right in here. But what we're going to do is just create a outline with our floor material going all the way around, and that's going to give us sort of a guideline to place our second floor walls. Also, I did figure something out. If you decide to place in some of these, so you'll have to delete whatever was there, so it would be, I guess, this in a stair. But if you just delete those and then place in a little bit more detail with these stairs and sort of connect them together, I found that looked a lot better. And now that those are put in, I'm just going to give you guys a little overhead view so you can make sure you did everything correctly. So now starting off for the second floor, what we're going to do is place another set of pillars coming up on top of each one of the secondary ones that we placed. So for the corners, you're going to have 2 of them like this. And then for the flat walls, all you're going to need to do is place in 1 like that. And then once you're done with those, you can just sort of connect them with a crossbeam going all the way around. And also on the top block of each one, you can place in a sticky addy bit like this, so it creates gaps of 3 in between. And now that all of those are placed in, I'm going to give you guys a quick fly around to make sure you got everything down correctly, and then we can start with the walls and also some details along the outside. So for the details I'm talking about, all you need is a fence, and then you can sort of connect each one of these 3 wide gaps together like that. And then for the walls, what we're going to need is some white stained clay. However, as I've mentioned many times in the past, if you're on the default texture pack or another one where this doesn't look so good, I would probably recommend just sticking with white wool, or maybe doing a mixture of white wool and some light gray wool. So for these walls, what you're going to do is pretty much just fill in, going 1, 2, 3, all the way around the outline that we made a little bit ago. So just continue this all the way around the build, and then just like we did for the first floor, once this is all placed in, we'll start carving out our windows and doors. So to begin with, I'm going to show you where to place the door. In fact, it does look pretty cool. We might be able to have a double door right here. I'm going to try it out really quick to see how it looks. Yeah, I do quite like that. And then for some decorations on this door, we're going to grab our spruce wood stairs and just do something really simple. Just do 2 upside down stairs like that, and that should turn out quite nicely. Really doesn't look too bad. And now for the rest of our windows, I think it might be pretty cool to have one right here sort of looking at whoever's coming in. So maybe we could place one on this corner right there. And then another section where I want to do one is right here on this through-wide gap spot. And then for these, I'm probably going to end up leaving these out for now. However, for this one, I'll probably end up placing one window in there. And then since we are going to have a tower right there, once again, we'll leave those out. And same with that one, it's kind of blockaded. Although I do want to place one here. And you know what, just to mix it up, since we didn't place one on the bottom right here, I'm going to try to squeeze one in this spot and see how it looks. Let's see. I think that one actually does look quite cool. So we'll leave that there, and we'll also place one here. But I think we'll stay with skipping this one. And then for this side, we should be able to place 2 more in, just like we did for the first floor. And then that should be all. So we're going to add some decorations with our spruce wood stairs, and then we should be done for today, and we'll leave the roof for another time. So we'll place those in like that. We've pretty much already done the ones above the door, so those are fine for now. Now for this 5 wide gap, what we're going to do is just place 2 in each corner like this on either side. And now for the through wide gaps, all it is a stair in each one of the corners, and then make sure and also do these in the spots where it's kind of tucked away like that. And just make sure and do that all the way around the build, and then we should be done. And now a couple more things before I go. What we need to do for this top section to sort of prepare it for detailing the roof in the next episode, we're going to just add a outline with our dark oak wood planks all the way around. And what this does just kind of gives us a guideline like we did for the second floor right down there. And it also covers up these nasty gaps above the windows that we have. And then once you're finished with those, I did notice the doorway. It doesn't really look too great. Actually, I guess I already fixed it. But for you guys, it might look like that. However, as you just saw, I did like just turning them that way, and that looks a bit better in my opinion. So you'll have those, and then just make sure you carry on filling in the outline above the roof. But anyways, guys, that's going to be it for today. Hopefully you did enjoy the video. Make sure and stay tuned for part number 2, and let me know if you have any ideas for it or the interior. Also, if you have any ideas for, I guess, future videos or tutorials, definitely let me know. But anyways, guys, thanks again for watching, and as always, I will see you in the next one.